Welcome to the West Ham Voice. Thank you for joining me. This is a very brief show just to give you a breaking update with regards to Lucas Paqueta and what it may or may not mean to West Ham United during this summer transfer window. If you're still enjoying the win, our Europa Conference win, and getting that trophy for the first time in over 43 years, please continue to enjoy it, because I've got a feeling that we're in for a rocky road throughout the transfer window. And it seems that almost every other day, a story's coming out that might just want to dampen our enthusiasm about winning a trophy. Because we've started off with the Declan Rice stories. That goes on every day. Arsenal are in, and then the next minute you've got someone else in. You've got Man City. Chelsea were meant to make a bid, and that hasn't materialised. Man City were meant to make a bid today. That hasn't materialised. And it looks like Arsenal have still got the, are the front runners to perhaps get Declan Rice at their club. But who knows what's going to happen. So with that ongoing, and God knows how long it's going to go on for, and when the news that we hear that the money that we make on Declan Rice is the only money, or the bulk of the money, that we're going to have to use for transfers, etc., it kind of makes you feel a little bit uneasy. So any other transfer stories start to make you feel a little bit shaky. And we've had other stories. We've had the story about Scamacca. Apparently he's already agreed terms with Roma or whatever. But West Ham United have already said that they're not going to loan any player out this season. They're going to have to buy the player. And then we've heard, I think, was it yesterday or today, that Flynn Downs is linked to Southampton, who've been relegated, and there could be a swap deal with money for Ward-Prowse coming the other way. And we're hearing all sorts of stories, all the different stories about Declan Rice. It could be a swap deal for Maguire and McTominay at Man United. It could be money plus a swap deal for Calvin Phillips at Man City, etc., etc., etc. I can't tell you what to believe anymore, but we're going to continually get these transfer stories thrown at us as the transfer window continues. So the last thing we want to hear is even more sort of stories and rumors and confirmations to put you even more at edge. So let's get it out of the way. I mean, the news today is that Lucas Paqueta has got himself a new agent. Apparently, he's acquired a new agent over the last week or so. Now, I'm going to... It's been broken by 6'2". It's been broken by also Claret & Hugh as well. So those two social media channels have already put this story out. And if the information is accurate, and I have no reason to believe it isn't, then usually it would just be another story, just another player that's got a new agent. But because it's happened during the transfer window, or it's been broken during the transfer window, you've got to be honest, alarm bells start to ring, and they ring out really loudly. Now, Paqueta was with Brazil's soccer, and my understanding is he switched to a new agent. I don't have the name of the new agent. So I said, give this story some credence and tell me who the new agent is. And I haven't been given that information. I just don't think we know who it is at this present moment. Now, I need to put this into context, this story, this breaking story, to my regular viewers who've been watching, and something that I mentioned to them during last season. For those of you who might remember, I said that there were 3 players in the current squad who were meant to have suggested that if David Moyes remains West Ham manager next season, then these 3 players might be looking for a way out. Now, many of you speculated who those 3 players might have been. Quite a few might have been would have had good reason for not wanting to play under David Moyes for another season. And the reason why I didn't divulge the names of the 3 players was because I was kind of skeptical a little bit. I didn't want to be one of those YouTubers that broke a story and then looked like a right dick if it didn't actually, if it turned out to be really guff information. Now, there are many candidates. Areola for not being given the first choice keeper, as we were told he was promised. Benrahma for the way he's been treated by David Moyes throughout the last couple of seasons, even when he has a great performance. But Moyes always seems to find a fault in his performance. Soufal, who wanted a new contract, and he thought he deserved one and still didn't get one. Scamacca for not being utilised properly, and even humiliated. If you remember the game, a home game, I can't remember who it was against, when he was waiting to come on as a sub, and then he was stripped down, ready to go, and then the final whistle went, and he didn't even get a second on the pitch. The list goes on. But the list of names I was given just made me sit back a little bit and ask myself if I was being led up the garden path or not. So here are the three names: Thomas Souček, Jared Bowen, and yet, you guessed it, Lucas Paqueta. So why these three? Well, the first one, I guess, is I guess you could say, is it obvious? Is it not obvious? Thomas Souček, this time last season in the summer transfer window, he wanted a new improved contract. And apparently, the story goes that David Moyes put a block on it. Now, we had a protracted transfer saga, didn't we? When we were trying to sign Amadou Onana, who ended up going to Everton because because of this, Souček kept his place in the team, but he still didn't get an improved contract. So if we had signed Amadou Onana, one would imagine that Thomas Souček either would have been on the bench or would have been sold. Now, again, the story goes that we were looking at clubs. We were sort of putting Thomas Souček out there to see if any clubs would come and buy him, but nothing materialized. So that was the first name. And I kind of get it now. If you want a new contract, an improved contract, and the manager has put a block on it, I get why perhaps that player would have wanted to leave. Now, this one I found a little bit hard. I mean, Jared Bowen. Why would Jared Bowen want to leave West Ham United? A regular starter, someone who seemed to be well embedded within the first 11, let alone within the squad. The whole thing about him and his, a romantic relationship with Danny Dyer and so on and so forth. And Moyes clearly has a lot of confidence in Jared Bowen, a lot of faith in him. So why would he want to perhaps leave West Ham United? Well, a little bit like the Souček situation, he also wants an improved contract. But the difference is that it's almost nailed on that Bowen will get his improved contract, and he will probably become one of the best players in the squad at West Ham United. So I don't necessarily see him going. But then I guess the scariest one of all is Lucas Paqueta. Now, it has been reported, as I said this evening, that he has indeed changed his agent over the past sort of week or two. And as I mentioned earlier, this really does, have the alarm bells ringing. It's been suggested, and again, I can't corroborate this, that Paqueta believes he is currently playing under one of the worst managers of his career so far. I haven't said that. You haven't said that. This is what I've been told. Now, whether that's true or not, who knows? Who knows what is said behind closed doors? We're not privy to it. We've already heard the rumours that Newcastle United are interested in the player. I don't know how much truth there is in that. Maybe a £60 million offer in the making. And just like the situation with Gianluca Scamacca, when you change an agent, the only way an agent is going to make any money is when you're sold. So it worries me. It worries me deeply. We're going to lose Declan Rice. One or two other players are likely to go, perhaps Scamacca and so on and so forth. But to lose Paqueta in the same transfer window would be pretty much disastrous, to be honest with you. Despite West Ham United having won the Europa Conference League and being back in Europe again in the Europa League next season, it may not be enough to keep hold of some of our best talent this season. With Declan Rice destined to leave, you could see a stream of other players leaving for one reason or another. I've mentioned them: Areola, Souček, Scamacca, and now Paqueta. If this happens, I will now start to fear as to what happens to us next season. Our new technical director in the waiting, Tim Steidten, who I've been told should have been sort of announced this week, but yet hasn't. I really hope he's got several aces up his sleeve, because if we do lose, we know we're losing Declan Rice. That's kind of a given. Skamaka is 50-50. It could be that Skamaka will stay, but if we get the right offer for him, he will leave. There are one or two other players that will possibly leave that I mentioned the other day. But to add to this, Souček, I don't think many people will be that concerned or that for me, I think Souček is a pretty decent player. If he does leave, I think it won't be a great thing to happen to us, but I guess we can get over that. But if on top of losing Declan Rice and maybe Skamaka and now even Lucas Paqueta, that would be quite serious. Like I said, I hope Tim Steidman, when he comes in, he's got a few aces up his sleeve because to actually have to replace the whole of our midfield is a tall order. Watch this space. If I get any more information about this, I will certainly let you know. But as it stands, Lucas Paqueta has got a new agent. What that means in the transfer window, we won't know until the transfer window progresses. I guess we certainly won't want to sell him regardless. I mean, I know the fee that was the fee that we were said to have bought him for was 51 million pounds, but that was something like about 35, 36 million pounds plus add-ons, which probably all of them haven't been realised. Maybe if 4 or 5 million for the fact that we won the Europa Conference League and we're back in Europe again. So let's say, for argument's sake, we've kind of spent about 40 million on him. If a team comes in with a 60 million pound bid, do we take it and hope with the money that we get for Declan Rice and money that we might get for Skamaka? That itself would then go up to 100, 160, 200 million pounds. That would be a goal. That would be a fantastic amount of money for Tim Steidman to use in order to improve the squad across the board. But the last thing we want, quite honestly, now that we've begun to really love Paqueta, I keep calling him Paqueta, and seeing what he's capable of, that would be quite tragic, wouldn't it? If I get any more updates, I'll let you know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon.